I dedicated 7 years of my life to you. I held down 3 jobs to ensure you could attend school. How could you betray me like this? I never want to see you here again. I have moved on. How could you do this to me? You'll come to regret this. He abandoned me. He married someone else. After all I did for him, I am here for you. She worked 3 jobs for 8 years to support him through medical school. She sent him money every month and waited patiently while he studied. He assured her that he would marry her after graduation. Instead, he wed a wealthy patient he encountered during his residency. What transpired next became the most discussed story in their entire state. Welcome to Folktales by Pandora, your source for captivating and unforgettable narratives. Adana met Chukwudi after Sunday service at their small village church. She was 22, selling roasted corn by the roadside to assist her aging mother. He was 23, exceptionally intelligent, yet desperately poor, with aspirations larger than their entire village. One evening, Chuka told her, "I received the letter," his hands shaking as he held the paper. "I've been accepted into medical school." Adana screamed with joy, embracing him tightly. The entire village had prayed for this moment. Chuka was their beacon of hope, the bright boy destined to become a doctor and bring pride to them all. However, reality shattered their celebration within hours. "The tuition is 250,000 naira per year," Chuka's voice faltered. "For 8 years, my family cannot even gather 250,000 naira in total. This dream is over before it even began." That night, Adana found it impossible to sleep. She contemplated Chuka's brilliant mind being wasted in the village. She envisioned their future together and made a decision that would cost her everything. "I will help you," she declared to him the following morning. Chuka laughed bitterly. "Ada, we can hardly feed ourselves. How will you manage that?" "I will work. I will send you money each month. You should focus solely on your studies." "But what about your own education? You had aspirations to attend university as well." Adana took his hands in hers. "Promise me that you will return and marry me. Please make a promise to me." "I promise. I can pursue my education later. This is your chance. Our chance. Once you become a doctor, we will build our life together. We will have everything we have ever dreamed of." Chuka's eyes filled with tears. "Ada, I cannot ask this of you." "You are not asking. I am making a decision. I am choosing us. I am selecting our future." He pulled her close. "I assure you, Ada, I swear on everything I own. Promise. The day I finish my studies, I will marry you. You are making sacrifices for us, for our shared future. I will never forget this. Never." "It is all right." They embraced and prayed. 2 young people in love, convinced that their sacrifices would lead to eternity. 3 months later, Chuka left for medical school in the city. Adana began her new life. She woke up at 4 a.m. to work as a house help for a wealthy family, preparing meals, cleaning, and taking care of their children. At 2 p.m., she rushed to the market where she sold vegetables from a wooden stall. "Thank you." 3 nights a week, she worked as a night security guard at a small shop, staying awake until dawn to protect someone else's property. She shared a single room with 5 other girls. She ate 1 meal a day, usually just Gary and groundnuts. She wore the same 3 outfits, washed and rotated endlessly. Every single kobo she saved was placed into an envelope. At the end of each month, she walked to the money transfer office and sent 70% of her earnings to Chuka. The receipt was her most cherished possession. The phone calls kept her going. "Ada, the money has arrived." "Thank you very much," Chuka would say, his voice filled with warmth and appreciation. "Are you eating properly?" "Studying diligently." "Yes, but how are you coping?" "I am fine."
Do not worry about me.
"Just concentrate on becoming the best doctor you can be." "I love you, Ada. I eagerly await the day we are together forever." "I love you too, Chuka. Just a few more years." At night, utterly exhausted, Adana opened her small notebook. Inside, she had inscribed, "Year 1 of 8 completed. 7 more years to go." Then Dr. Chuka and Mrs. Adana, forever and ever. She sketched wedding dress designs in the margins. She compiled names for their future children, Chadar, Kayamaka, Obiagali. She calculated how many more months of suffering would pass before joy arrived. Her roommate observed her with sorrowful eyes. Ada, you're destroying yourself for a man who's far away. What if he leaves you? Adana smiled with confidence. He won't. We love each other. This is our dream, not just his. The market woman, who sold tomatoes next to her stall, shook her head. Child, you're too young to suffer like this. Live your life. I am living my life, Adana insisted. I'm building our future. Every sacrifice now is an investment in forever. A customer visited her stall weekly, a quiet businessman named Emma. He was around 35, kind-faced and always courteous. He noticed everything, her fatigue, her tattered clothes, her calloused hands. Why do you work so hard? He inquired one Saturday. Adana's face brightened with pride. I'm putting my boyfriend through medical school. He's going to be a doctor. Emma was silent for a moment. He's a very lucky man. I hope he knows that. He does. Adana replied confidently. He promises to marry me the day he graduates. Just 7 more years. Emma nodded slowly, but his eyes reflected a sadness that Adana did not comprehend. He had witnessed this narrative before. He understood how it typically concluded, yet he remained silent. Some lessons must be learned independently. As Adana fell asleep that night, weary from 18 hours of work, she smiled through her pain, thinking of just 7 more years. Then she and Chuka would be together forever. She was unaware that with each passing year, Chuka was gradually transforming into someone else, someone who would shatter her heart in the cruelest manner imaginable. But tonight, she envisioned white dresses and a future that would never materialize. Years merged into a blur of fatigue and hope. In the second year, Adana's mother fell ill. The medicine cost 15,000 naira, but Adana had only 8,000 to spare. She had already sent Chuka his monthly financial support. She provided her mother with what she could and wept herself to sleep, murmuring, "Just 6 more years, and then Chuka will become a doctor. He will take care of all of us." It was year 3. Her friend Inoy opened a small provision shop and invited Adana to join her as a partner. A mere investment of 50,000 naira was required. Ada, you would own half the business. However, Adana did not have the funds. Every kobo was directed towards Chuka's education. She observed Engo's shop flourishing, acutely aware that she had lost her opportunity for financial security. Yet, she reassured herself, just 5 more years. Then our real life will commence. Her hands became rougher, and her body grew thinner. Dark circles settled permanently beneath her eyes. Nevertheless, every month, without exception, she sent money to Chuka. Once a year, she managed to save enough to visit him, enduring a 14-hour bus journey as she could not afford the flight. Those 3 days together were meant to be blissful. However, Adana began to perceive fractures in their relationship. During her year 4 visit, Chuka appeared uneasy when his classmates spotted them together. She donned her finest attire, a simple dress she had owned for 3 years. His peers wore designer brands and spoke with refined accents. "Chuka, introduce us to your friend," a female classmate remarked, glancing at Adana's worn shoes. "This is Adana. She hails from my village," Chuka quickly replied, omitting the details of her being my girlfriend or my future wife. When his affluent classmates invited him to a lavish restaurant, he told Adana, "You must be weary from the journey. Please rest at the hotel. I will just go for a quick dinner and return." He came back 4 hours later, reeking of expensive wine. Adana concocted justifications in her mind. He is stressed from school. He is merely attempting to blend in with his peers. He still loves me. He expresses that sentiment every time we converse, but the nature of the calls was also shifting. Year 5 arrived. Phone conversations that once lasted an hour now barely reached 15 minutes. "Chuka, I miss you so much." "I miss you too, Ada, but I truly need to study." Can we talk later? Later never materialized. Year 6, he overlooked her birthday, calling her 3 days late. Medical school is quite overwhelming. You understand, don't you?
She did.
She always comprehended. She consistently forgave. She sent him a birthday present that cost her an entire week's worth of meals, a lovely watch she had saved for. He replied with a text saying, "Thanks." No phone call, no video chat, just a simple thanks. Meanwhile, Emma continued her shopping at the market stall, observing Adana's decline year after year. "When was the last time you had a proper meal?" he inquired one afternoon, noticing her hands tremble from low blood sugar. "I ate yesterday," Adana replied. Emma purchased her lunch from the food vendor and remained there until she finished eating. "Why do you do this to yourself?" "Because I love him and he loves me. Just 2 more years, and then we will be together forever." Emma gazed at her with such tenderness. "Love should not lead to your destruction, Adana. It ought to uplift you." She smiled sadly.
You don't understand.
This is temporary suffering for lasting happiness. What she was unaware of was that in year 7, everything shifted. Chuka encountered Florence. She was 28, in the hospital for a minor surgery, a cosmetic procedure her affluent family funded without hesitation. Chuka was completing his hospital rotations. Florence immediately noticed the attractive young doctor. "You excel at this," she remarked, her voice smooth and flirtatious. Chuka, who had been living like a monk for 7 years, felt something awaken within him. Florence donned designer attire and exuded an expensive fragrance. She spoke with the assurance of someone who had never experienced poverty. "Would you like to grab coffee after your shift?" she asked. He ought to have declined. He should have mentioned Adana. He should have recalled the woman working 3 jobs to support his education. Instead, he responded, "I would like that." Coffee evolved into dinners. Dinners transformed into weekends. Florence introduced him to her world of lavish restaurants, gallery openings, family gatherings, and mansions complete with swimming pools. "You are quite unlike the other doctors," Florence remarked to him.
So modest, so sincere.
Chuka refrained from telling her that his humility stemmed from his humble beginnings. He did not mention the girlfriend who had provided him with everything. He allowed Florence to think of him as a self-made individual. Back in the village, Adana sensed that something was amiss. Year 7, month 8. Chuka had begun to ignore her calls for several days. He would text her, apologizing, saying, "Sorry, hospital hours are overwhelming." She wished to visit, but he replied, "Do not come this year, Ada. Concentrate on saving money. Next year is my final year. Then we will arrange the wedding. I promise." She trusted him. She worked even harder, taking on extra shifts, saving every possible kobo for their wedding. She sketched ideas for the ceremony in her notebook. She envisioned introducing Dr. Chuck Woody as her husband. Little did she know that the man she intended to marry was falling in love with someone else, someone who embodied everything he aspired to be. Aimcha noticed it in her eyes, the blind hope intertwined with increasing fear. "Adana," he said gently one evening, "please safeguard your heart." "What do you mean?" she asked. "Just remember that you deserve someone who chooses you, someone who recognizes your worth, someone who does not make you wait." "All of the setter are all Chuka is worth waiting for," she insisted. "1 more year, then everything we have worked for will make sense." Year 8 arrived, marking Chuka's final year. Adana could hardly contain her excitement. 12 more months until graduation. 12 more months until her suffering would cease. 12 more months until forever would finally commence. What she was unaware of was that Chuka had already made his decision. And it was not her. 6 months prior to graduation, Florence's father invited Chuka to dinner at their family estate. The house resembled something out of a dream. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and servants moving quietly with trays of imported wine. Chuka felt as though he had entered another realm. After dinner, Florence's father took him aside. "Chuck Woody, you are an exceptionally talented young man. I have observed the way you treat my daughter, and I am quite impressed. I wish for you to marry Florence." Chuka's heart raced. Sir, I am truly honored, but I will arrange for you to have your own clinic. It will feature brand new equipment, a prime location in Victoria Island, staff, supplies, everything will be fully funded. All you need to do is marry my daughter and join this family. Everything Chuka had ever aspired to was being offered to him on a silver platter. That night, alone in his modest rented room, he reflected on Adana, the sweet, loyal, and hard-working woman who had devoted 8 years of her life to him. Then he considered Florence, the sophisticated, well-connected, and affluent Florence, the woman who could provide him with the life he believed he deserved. He gazed at his reflection in the mirror. He was no longer that impoverished village boy. He was nearly Dr. Chikori. He deserved a partner who matched his elevated status. Anna would eventually understand, he reassured himself. She would find someone else, someone from her own world. This is the best outcome for both of us. He convinced himself that his betrayal was, in fact, an act of kindness. The following morning, he reached out to Florence. I accept. From that moment on, he began to erase Adana from his life. He completely stopped responding to her calls. When she texted him, he would reply days later, claiming to be extremely busy with final exams. We will call soon. However, soon never arrived. Adana was in a state of panic. She confided in a friend at the market. I haven't heard from Chuka in a month. What if something terrible has happened? Emma looked at her with deep sympathy. Adana, what if nothing has happened? What if he is deliberately avoiding you?
No.
Her voice was filled with fierce denial. He would not do that. We have plans. He made promises. 8 years of promises.
8.
Emma wished to shake her to make her see the truth. But she knew that Adana had to learn this lesson in the hardest way possible. Graduation day came. Chuka became Dr. Chuck Woody, graduating near the top of his class. Adana attempted to call him 20 times that day. Every call went to voicemail. She reassured herself, he is celebrating with his classmates. He will call tonight, and then we will plan the wedding. He did not call that night, nor the following nights. 2 weeks after graduation, Chuka and Florence held a private engagement ceremony, attended solely by their affluent friends and family. The photographs were elegant, costly, and exclusive. Chuka ensured that he blocked Adana on all social media platforms before sharing anything he wished to keep from her. Not yet. He would inform her eventually, as he had promised himself that he would do so when the time was appropriate. 1 month after graduation, Dr. Chukwi married Florence in what was deemed the wedding of the season, featuring 600 guests, a live band, and champagne fountains. Florence donned a dress that was more expensive than what Adana had earned over 8 years. The images flooded social media, with Lego Society commemorating the union of Dr. Chuck Woody and his stunning bride. 3 days post-wedding, Adana's friend She called her. Ada, are you seated?
Why?
What is the matter? Is it Chuka? Is he injured? Ada? Chioma's voice trembled. I saw something online, but perhaps it is not him. Someone with the same name. What did you observe? The screenshot arrived. Dr. Chikuti weds Florence. Images of Chuka in a wedding suit, kissing a woman in a white gown. The date was 3 days ago. Adana gazed at her phone screen, and the world ceased to make sense. That is Chuka. Her Chuka, dressed for a wedding, married to another. She was unable to breathe, think, or comprehend what her eyes were witnessing. She dialed his old number, but it was disconnected. She called the hospital where he was employed, her voice trembling so intensely that she could scarcely articulate her words. I need to speak to Dr. Chikori. I apologize, but Dr. Chikori is on his honeymoon. He will return in 2 weeks. May I take a message?
Honeymoon.
That single word shattered what remained of her heart. Adana collapsed onto the floor of her small shared room. 8 years, 3 jobs, every sacrifice, every promise, every dream, every I love you, every single promise was a lie. Every time he said, just wait for me, or I will marry you the day I graduate, or I love you, it was all deceit. She had given him everything. Her youth, her opportunities, her education, her finances, her health, and her very life. Yet, the moment he graduated and became Dr. Chuckwoody, he chose to marry someone else. It wasn't merely the loss of a boyfriend. She lost 8 years that could never be reclaimed. Her roommates discovered her on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably, unable to breathe. He married someone else, she kept repeating. He married someone else. For 8 years, I worked 3 jobs, and he married someone else. That evening, ACHA received a call. Please come. Ida won't stop crying. She refuses to eat. We are frightened. He hurried over and found her utterly devastated, with hollow eyes, shaken and broken in ways he had never witnessed before. He sat beside her on the floor, holding her as she wept into his shoulder. 8 years, she whispered. I gave him 8 years. I had nothing left to offer. I gave him everything, and he discarded me as if I were worthless. Aimcha embraced her more tightly, his own heart aching for this woman who had loved so deeply and had been so cruelly betrayed. For 3 days, Adana remained in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the last 8 years in her mind. Every sacrifice, every promise, every dream, all for nothing. He had robbed her of her youth, her opportunities, and her future. He had exploited her loyalty and love as mere stepping stones to achieve his success. And once he reached the pinnacle, he cast her aside. The pain was profound and all-consuming, leaving her to wonder if she would ever feel whole again. 1 week after learning of Chuka's marriage, Adana finally managed to reach him. She had called the hospital repeatedly until a compassionate nurse connected her directly to his office. Dr. Chuckwoody speaking. His voice, the voice she had cherished for 8 years, sent chills through her. Chuka, it's me. Her voice trembled so much that she could barely recognize it. Silence. A long, dreadful silence. Adana laughed. His voice was frigid and detached, as if she were merely an acquaintance.
Why?
The question escaped her lips as a sob. Please just explain why. I have moved on. You should do the same. 8 years, Chuka. Her voice escalated, filled with desperation, cracking under the weight of her emotions. I held down 3 jobs. I sent you money I could scarcely afford. I waited. I sacrificed everything. I never asked you to do that. Those 6 words shattered her completely. You vowed to marry me. You claimed we were just children when we made those promises. Adana, I have changed. I am a different person now. My life has taken a different direction. I require someone who aligns with that life. What about all that I sacrificed for you? My education, my opportunities, 8 years of my existence. Adana, I regret that you feel this way, but I must leave. My wife is calling. My wife. He ended the call. Adana screamed in anguish. She hurled her phone across the room, hearing it crash against the wall. She collapsed, her body racked with sobs that felt as though they were tearing her apart from within. I have nothing. She cried out to her empty room. Nothing. 8 years lost. I could have pursued my education. I could have launched a business. I could have created my own life. And I sacrificed it all for him. That night, in her deepest despair, Adana contemplated giving up entirely. What is the point? She murmured. I am 30 years old with nothing. No education, no career, no savings, no future. What is the point? Her roommates were frightened. They had never witnessed her in such a state. Not merely sad, but shattered in a manner that seemed beyond repair. Emma visited her every single day. He brought food and gently encouraged her to eat. He refrained from offering advice or attempting to fix anything. He simply sat with her in her suffering, a silent presence in her darkness. After 2 weeks of observing her pain, he finally spoke. Adana, what Chukwue did to you was cruel. It was unjust. It was malevolent. He robbed you of 8 years of your life. He exploited your loyalty and love as a means to ascend to success. He deceived you every single day. You have every right to feel broken. In that moment, Adana remained silent, merely gazing at the wall. However, it is essential for you to grasp a particular point, he continued, his tone both gentle and resolute. He did not merely take from you. He revealed his true nature. A man who ascends by exploiting the love of others, only to cast them aside. A man devoid of integrity, honor, and soul. You did not lose a good man, Adana. You lost a user. I have wasted 8 years, she murmured. Indeed. And yes, that is heartbreaking. Yet you are 30, not 80. You still have the opportunity to construct everything you have ever desired. Not for him, but for yourself. Adana finally met his gaze, her eyes red and puffy. How am I supposed to do that? I possess nothing. No education, no finances, no hope. You possess something far more significant. Emma remarked, you have the resilience of someone who has juggled 3 jobs for 8 years. Most individuals struggle to manage 1 job effectively. You managed 3 at once. You embody the commitment of someone who honored every promise, even when utterly exhausted. You possess the heart of someone who loved unconditionally and wholly. Those attributes do not vanish simply because one man was too blind to appreciate them. He paused and then added, allow me to assist you. Why would you extend your help to me? Because I run a small import business and require someone trustworthy to oversee my new branch. Someone industrious, honest, and dedicated, someone precisely like you. I will offer you a fair wage. I will support your enrollment in night school so you can earn your degree. I will provide you with an opportunity to rebuild. Not out of pity, but because I recognize your worth. Something Chikue was too short-sighted to acknowledge. Adana gazed at her reflection in the fractured mirror across the room. She perceived a woman who was shattered, lost, and hollow. Yet, beneath the surface of her despair, a flicker of defiance began to emerge. I can remain broken, she contemplated. Or, I can reconstruct myself. Not for Chuka, but for myself. She inhaled deeply, her breath unsteady. Very well, I will make an effort. The initial month was excruciating. Adana worked for Aimcha, while still grappling with her heartbreak, often weeping herself to sleep at night. However, having a sense of purpose, engaging in work that was shaping her future rather than someone else's, gradually began to mend something profound within her inside. Mecca enrolled her in business school, attending night classes 3 evenings a week. She felt a deep fear, having not been in a classroom for 8 years. However, she uncovered a truth about herself. She was intelligent, truly intelligent. The years of hard work had instilled in her a discipline that her peers lacked. By the 2nd month, she found herself laughing at a colleague's joke, marking the first genuine laugh in 60 days. In the 3rd month, she realized she had gone an entire day without shedding a tear. By the 4th month, she stayed up late to complete an assignment, feeling a real thrill about learning. In the 5th month, she received her first full paycheck, entirely hers, not sent to anyone else, nor sacrificed for another's aspirations. She gazed at it and cried, but this time it was tears of relief. In the 6th month, she looked in the mirror and saw a new person. No longer the girl who had waited for Chuka, but someone stronger. 1 year after the most devastating day of her life, Adana stood in her small office at a Mecca's company, admiring her business degree certificate. She had graduated at the top of her class. The company had doubled its revenue due to her management abilities. For the first time in her life, she had savings, real savings. More importantly, she had something even more precious, herself. Not the version that had lived for someone else's validation, but a new version, one who would never again put her life on hold for anyone. Meanwhile, 300 meters away, Dr. Chuki's seemingly perfect life was starting to show signs of strain. 2 years after the betrayal, Adana was flourishing. She had become the assistant manager of 3 AMCA branches, earning more than she had ever dreamed possible. She completed her business degree with honors and was saving to invest in her own small enterprise. She resided in her own apartment, nothing extravagant, but it was hers. Most importantly, she had learned to prioritize herself. One evening after work, Emma requested her to stay behind. Adana, I need to share something with you. His voice was shaky, vulnerable in a way she had never experienced. I have loved you since the moment I met you at that market stall 8 years ago. But you were with someone else, so I remained silent. I observed you give up everything for a man unworthy of your love. I am not requesting that you reciprocate my feelings. I merely want you to understand that you are deserving of being prioritized, not as a secondary option, nor as a sacrifice, but as someone's primary choice. That is what you rightfully deserve. And when you feel prepared, if that time ever comes, I will be here for you. Tears welled up in Adana's eyes. For 8 years, she had pleaded for Chuka's attention. For Emma, she had merely existed, and he had selected her every single day. Emika, I am still in the process of healing. I am uncertain if I can love anyone properly at this moment. I understand, he replied softly. I am not urging you to hurry. I am simply asking you to recognize that I see all of you, and I choose you. It was the first occasion in her life that someone had chosen her unconditionally, without delay, and without requiring her to validate her worth. A transformation occurred within her heart. Meanwhile, Chuka's life was unraveling. Florence had initially appeared to be perfect, beautiful, sophisticated, and well-connected. However, the truth of their marriage unveiled her genuine character. She was spoiled, demanding, and materialistic. You are a doctor, she would complain. Why aren't we wealthier? Dr. Obi purchased his wife a Range Rover. When will I receive mine? Chuka endured grueling hours at the clinic established by her father, yet all his earnings were funneled into Florence's extravagant lifestyle. Designer handbags, lavish dinners, luxurious spa days. Her family dictated everything, as the clinic technically belonged to them. Chuka was merely an employee with an impressive title. He possessed no freedom, no independence, only golden handcuffs. Sometimes, late at night, alone in the clinic, he would reminisce about Adana, how she never demanded anything from him, how she gave everything she had, how she loved him when he had nothing. Guilt would surge within him, and he would suppress it. I made the right decision, he would reassure himself. I have achieved success. I have status. Yet, he felt empty inside, and he was aware of it. Then came the turning point. One of Florence's socialite acquaintances was browsing through old medical school articles online and stumbled upon a feature. A village boy achieved success as a local student who has been accepted into medical school. The article highlighted his supportive girlfriend, who juggles multiple jobs to assist in financing his education. A friend captured screenshots of everything and shared them with Florence. You had a girlfriend who supported you through medical school. Florence's scream reverberated throughout their home. That was in the past. Chuka stuttered. I chose you. You exploited her. You are a user, Chukwi. What if you are also using me? She confided in her parents about everything. Her father summoned Chuka to his office. I do not want my daughter to marry a man lacking in loyalty. If you could abandon someone who sacrificed everything for you, what would you do to Florence when a better opportunity arises? The clinic that had been Chuka's compensation for marrying Florence was threatened to be reclaimed by her family. The marriage turned toxic. Florence, who had never truly loved Chuka, began an affair with a wealthier doctor. Within 18 months, she initiated divorce proceedings. The irony was harsh. Florence replicated Chuka's actions towards Adana. She left him for someone she believed was a superior choice. The divorce resulted in him losing half of his assets, most of which were originally hers. The clinic reverted to her family. Chuka found himself with nearly nothing. He sat alone in a small apartment. His career was stagnant, his reputation tarnished, without a wife, and his family was ashamed of him. For the first time, he genuinely comprehended what he had lost. Adana had given him everything and asked for nothing but love and loyalty in return. Florence had contributed nothing and taken everything. One sleepless night, he searched for Adana online. Her LinkedIn profile displayed her success. Assistant manager, business degree, and a professional photo where she appeared confident and radiant. There were images of her at company events, often beside a kind-faced man named Emma. Chuka's heart broke.
She had moved on.
She had created a life.
She was happy.
And he had discarded her. Desperate, pathetic, and broken, He discovered her new phone number and made a call. Adana's phone rang with an unfamiliar number. She nearly chose not to answer, but something compelled her to pick up. "Hello, Ada." The voice was shaky and tearful. "It's me. It's Chuka." Every muscle in her body tensed up. 2 years had gone by, yet hearing his voice still caused her pain. "What do you want?" "I made a terrible mistake. The worst mistake of my life. Florence left me. I have nothing. I lost everything. And I realized I lost you. The only person who ever truly loved me." Adana's grip on her phone tightened. 2 years ago, this call would have shattered her. Now, she felt something different.
Pity.
"Ada, please," he sobbed. "I'm so sorry. I was foolish. I was greedy. I wanted status and wealth, and I discarded something invaluable. I discarded you. Please, can we talk?"
Can I see you?
"I need to explain." "Explain what, Chuka?" Her voice remained calm and steady. "Explain how you exploited me for 8 years? How you allowed me to work 3 jobs while you pursued your studies? How you promised to marry me every single day, then wed someone else without even informing me? Explain which part." "I was wrong. I was so wrong. But I have suffered for it. Ada, I lost my wife, my clinic, my reputation. I have nothing now, just like when we began. We can start anew. We can."
No.
One word. Definitive. "Ada, please." "Chuck Woody, you did not make a mistake. You made a choice. You opted for wealth over loyalty. You selected status over love. You chose Florence over me, fully aware of what I sacrificed. And now that your choice has repercussions, you wish to return. No, I love you. I never ceased loving you." Adana laughed, not crying, but with genuine astonishment at his audacity. "You do not love me, Chuka. You never did. You loved what I provided. My money, my support, my unwavering devotion. And when I had nothing left to offer, when you obtained what you needed from me, you discarded me. That is not love. That is exploitation. I will make it up to you. I will dedicate the rest of my life to you. You already consumed 8 years of my life. You will no longer receive any of my time. I refuse to be your second option. I am not your fallback plan. I am not the woman you resort to when your primary choice fails. So, what should I do?" He was now openly weeping. "I possess nothing. I am nothing. You must rebuild," Adana stated plainly.
Just as I did.
"You must discover your identity without relying on others. You must learn to be self-sufficient. You will evolve into a person of integrity. Perhaps in 10 years, you will become someone deserving of genuine love. However, that person will not be me. Ada, I forgive you, Chikui, not for your sake, but for mine, so that I can completely close this chapter. However, forgiveness does not equate to reconciliation. It simply signifies that I am no longer allowing your actions to dictate my life. Farewell," she ended the call. Her hands trembled, not from pain, but from empowerment, from closure. Mecca, who had been waiting in her living room, rose to his feet. "Are you all right?" Adana beamed a truly genuine smile. "I am perfect." That evening, he took her to the beach. As they strolled along the shoreline, he paused and faced her. "Adana, I have waited long enough. I need to know, can you envision a future with me? Not because I assisted you. Not because I am convenient, but because you choose me." Adana gazed at this man who had witnessed her at her lowest and never turned away. Who had given selflessly without expectation. Who had chosen her when she was shattered. Who had waited patiently while she healed. "I choose you," she declared. "Not because you rescued me, but because you demonstrated what true love resembles. It does not deplete you.
It does not exploit you.
It does not compel you to plead for scraps. It selects you every single day." He kissed her as the sun dipped below the horizon. 6 months later, they were married. A modest ceremony with individuals who genuinely loved them. Adana donned a dress she purchased with her own earnings from her own employment. She walked down the aisle as a successful, educated, independent woman. In the recesses of her mind, she reflected on Chuka, not with resentment any longer, but with comprehension. She imparted the most significant lesson of her life. Never compromise your own aspirations to fulfill another's. Do not pause your life in anticipation of someone else's decision. Avoid giving everything to an individual who reciprocates nothing. Although she had lost 8 years, she had acquired something invaluable in return. As she uttered, "I do," to Emeka, she was filled solely with gratitude. Gratitude that Chuka had revealed his true nature before she squandered any more time. Gratitude that she had discovered the fortitude to reconstruct her life. Gratitude that genuine love had been waiting for her all along. 3 years later, Adana operates her own thriving import business. She and Aimcha are parents to 2 children. She guides young women, sharing her narrative and teaching them to appreciate their worth. Chuka continues his work as a doctor, yet he is solitary, burdened with remorse, haunted by the specter of what he discarded. Each night, as Adana tucks her children into bed and bids her husband good night, she expresses gratitude to God for every single heartbreak that brought her to this point. For sometimes, the most unfortunate events can turn out to be the most beneficial. It simply does not feel that way in the moment. The lesson is clear. When someone demonstrates that they will sacrifice you for their own convenience, trust them the first time. Your loyalty holds great value. Your sacrifices are impactful. Your love is invaluable. Bestow these gifts only upon those who cherish them, not upon those who exploit them as mere stepping stones and then discard them. You are worthy of being someone's primary choice, not their secondary option. And if someone betrays you after you have given them everything, do not falter. Rebuild. Achieve such success, happiness, and completeness that when they attempt to return, you can smile and say, "No, thank you. I have already upgraded." Your worth does not diminish due to another's inability to recognize it.